For 37 years, the ritual never broke. Every February 8th, Iran's Air Force commanders stood before the Supreme Leader, a ceremony rooted in revolution, loyalty, and power. Until now. For the first time since taking office in 1989, Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei did not appear at the annual meeting marking the Air Force's Pledge of Allegiance. No address, no public oath, no familiar image of command. Instead, a striking shift. Iranian Air Force commanders were received not by Khamenei, but by Hassan Khomeini, the grandson of the Islamic Republic's founder, Ayatollah Ruhollah Khamenei. The symbolism is impossible to ignore. The February 8th meeting commemorates the moment in 1979 when Air Force officers broke ranks with the Shah and pledged loyalty to the revolution's architect, a turning point that helped seal the monarchy's collapse. Since then, the ritual has endured through war, unrest, even a global pandemic. Khamenei kept the tradition alive during COVID-19, but this year, silence. Instead, Iran's Armed Forces Chief of Staff, Major General Abdolrahim Mousavi, stood in for the Supreme Leader, and the commander's separate meeting with Hassan Khomeini added a new layer of intrigue. Is this a quiet reshuffle of symbolism or a subtle message in a tense moment? Khamenei's absence comes as pressure mounts on Tehran, with Washington expanding its military footprint in the region and regional tensions once again on edge. In a system where optics are power and tradition signals authority, even one absence can speak volumes.
The Middle East is once again on edge as Iran's top military commanders issue stark warnings to Washington and its allies. From surveillance of all enemy movements to vows of a decisive and regret-inducing response, Tehran is projecting strength, readiness, and resolve. Speaking on the sidelines of a meeting with Air Force commanders, Iranian Army Chief Major General Amir Hatami declared that every hostile move in the region is under close watch. His message was blunt: any malicious act will be met with force. Hatami pointed to what he described as the 12-day Israeli-American war last June, claiming the Iranian Air Force carried out its missions with courage and ultimately forced the enemy to request a ceasefire. He said the experience gained in that confrontation has elevated Iran's preparedness to match current threats and conditions. The warning did not stop there. Hatami cautioned adversaries not to make a new mistake, stressing that if they do, the Air Force will play a major role in delivering a powerful response. He dismissed the presence of U.S. warships in regional waters as nothing new, framing it as a familiar tactic rather than a strategic shift. At the same time, Iran's Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces, Major General Abdolrahim Mousavi, delivered a carefully balanced message. While asserting that Iran is fully prepared for a decisive and swift retaliation against any aggression, he insisted that the Islamic Republic has no intention of starting a regional war. "We are prepared, but we have no intention of starting a war in the region," Mousavi said during a ceremony marking Iranian Air Force Day. Yet he warned that if conflict were imposed on Iran, the consequences would be severe and long-lasting. According to Mousavi, the aggressors themselves would become the primary targets in any regional war. However, he cautioned that such a conflict would set back regional progress and development for years. He directly blamed the United States and what he called the Zionist regime as warmongers who would bear responsibility for the repercussions. In a striking assertion, Iran underlined that it possesses both the capability and the necessary preparations for a long-term war with the United States. It was a declaration designed to signal endurance as much as deterrence. Yet amid the rhetoric of readiness, there was also a diplomatic opening. Mousavi said Iran welcomes logical pathways to negotiations, provided they are free of unreasonable preconditions. He accused Washington of decades of hostility, citing what he described as U.S. atrocities, deception, and domination-seeking behavior over the past 47 years. Still, he maintained that Iran would never initiate a war, even as it stands ready to defend its national security and territorial integrity without hesitation. That dual-track message, deterrence paired with conditional diplomacy, was echoed by Iran's foreign minister, Abbas Araghchi. Araghchi publicly questioned Washington's seriousness regarding nuclear negotiations. He acknowledged signs of intent, but said those signals appear to be fading. Continued sanctions and certain military movements, he argued, cast doubt over whether the United States is truly prepared for meaningful talks. "We are monitoring all of this," Araghchi said. "We will evaluate all the signs together, and we will decide about the continuation of negotiations."
The results of Friday's negotiations are being reviewed, and a decision will be made regarding their continuation, but the overall approach of both countries at the end of Friday's negotiations was to continue them, although it ultimately depends on the conclusions reached in the two capitals and will be decided. There are signs of seriousness, but there are also signs that this seriousness is fading. The continuation of some sanctions and some movements in the military sphere create doubt about the level of seriousness and readiness of the other party for real negotiations. We are monitoring all of this. We will evaluate all the signs together, and we will decide about the continuation of negotiations. The location and time of the next meeting in the consultations held by the esteemed Foreign Minister of Oman will be determined. There may be another location, as we went to a different location twice in the previous round. The form of negotiation, from our perspective, remains non-direct. The location and time will be specified through diplomatic consultations. The presence of the CENTCOM commander doesn't change the essence of the matter. We were told that he came to visit their warship, Abraham Lincoln, from there. It was a request from the Americans, in the context of maintaining the usual courteous interactions, for him to be present. I stated that we firmly opposed his presence. We said we do not accept the presence of a military figure in our negotiation process, regardless of the purpose for which he came. He can pursue his goal. As far as we are concerned, there is no connection between him and the negotiations. A direct meeting did not take place between Iranian and American delegations, but we had an encounter, what shall we call it for the sake of diplomatic courtesy. When delegations arrive, there is in any case a handshake and an initial courtesy. Yes, in the past years was also being done. We had indirect negotiations in all past periods, but in any case, the two delegations would encounter each other on arrival or departure.